If a major catastrophe hits your area, your local grocery store will have about 3 days worth of food on hand before their inventory is depleted. Would you have enough food in your home to make sure you and your family could eat if help doesn't arrive right away?
You can show your support for this channel by clicking the like button, sharing on social media, providing feedback in the comments section, and don't forget as a subscriber to click the bell icon below to get updates. Enjoy the video.
FEMA recommends at a minimum a 3-day food supply to support you and your family after a major catastrophe. But the reality is that after a major disaster, it could take much longer before food and water supplies make it to the general population. In this video, we'll discuss simple items that you're probably already using on a daily basis that you could begin to stock up on now. The great thing about these items we're discussing is that they're items that you use anyway, and by purchasing extra, they'll get used eventually, so you're not getting items that are going to go to waste. The long-term goal is to have food storage well beyond 2 weeks, but by having at least 2 weeks of food stored up, you're probably ahead of 95% of the population. So I'll be breaking this video down into 3 parts. Number 1, why I recommend these items. Number 2, the items I recommend for your 2-week pantry. And number 3, additional considerations in going beyond just 2 weeks. So let's jump in. So first, why do I recommend these items? Well, here's why I choose these items for my pantry. They had to be easy to cook. They need to be easy to store for a decent amount of time without refrigeration. I want items that are already part of our daily meals. I like food items that require little electricity or fuel to prepare. And they need to provide ample nutrition and contain little salt. Many times when people start out in prepping, the thought of long-term food storage can be intimidating. But if you're new to prepping, or even if you've been prepping for a while, this list will help you get kick-started toward a long-term food storage plan. And consider this list as a bare minimum starting point. In later videos, we'll get into discussing long-term food approaches, but this is just a good way to get started. So here's the items in my list. Obviously, change it in relation to the size of your family. For example, I have a family of 4. We have 2 adults and 2 children who are 8 and 6. So I'm coming to these amounts based on what we typically eat on a daily basis. So here are the items in my list in no specific order. Number 1, rice. Typically you'll have the option of either brown or white rice. Either one will work fine. I prefer brown for its nutritional value, and I would recommend probably around 20 pounds. The second item in my list is beans. There's a whole lot of options based on your taste. We personally stock up on canned black beans, which we use anyway in our daily routine. I'd recommend about 20 pounds of dried beans if you're going to go the dried beans route of something like pinto beans. Now, rice is rich in starch, and it's an excellent source of energy, while beans are rich in protein and contain other minerals. Now, these 2 items are staple foods around the world. Obviously, combined together, they're a great source of amino acids, and it's no wonder that many people use these for their part of their staple diet around the world. So these probably would be the first 2 that I would add to my list. Number 3 is canned meat. I went with chicken on this one. We're not a big fan of Spam or tuna in our house, and so hey, at the end of the day, everything tastes like chicken, right? So you can't go wrong with this. Again, start with about 20 cans of this. Number 4 on my list is canned fruit. Number 5 is canned vegetables. We went with green beans, corn, and tomatoes. And again, I'd recommend probably around just 20 cans or so of these. Number 6 on my list is soup. Again, I'm just kind of throwing 20 cans out. Usually for most of these items, it's just kind of an easy number. And soup's great because it's something that you can cook up really quickly with little to no preparation. Number 7 is powdered milk. Milk can serve a lot of purposes. Mix it in with your oatmeal or add it to your coffee. It's nutritious and it's just a great comfort food all around. Number 8 is cereal. Combine this with powdered milk and again, you've got an easy breakfast. Number 9 is oatmeal. You can throw in some fruits, peanut butter, or powdered milk and you've got a solid breakfast. About 5 pounds of this should work. Number 10 is peanut butter. You can get a couple of large jars and you'll be set. Peanut butter is a really popular option in the prepper community as it's got, high protein and it's packed with calories and it's something that will help you kind of keep hunger at bay after you eat it. Number 11 is pancake mix. I keep about 10 pounds of this in storage. You can toss some jam or syrup on this and you've got a great meal. Number 12, honey, jam, or syrup. These are all great sweeteners for various food items we mentioned on this list. I keep a couple of jars of jams in storage along with about 10 pounds of honey and a couple of different syrup options. So just great kind of comfort food, so to speak. When things get bad, it's not a bad idea to have something around that's sweet. It's just kind of a psychological boost. Number 13, pasta. This is again something I keep around 20 pounds of in my storage. Again, there's a lot of different options. We always go with whole grain. Number 14, spaghetti sauce. This is something we keep around about 10 jars of in storage. You can throw some pasta and spaghetti together and you've got a great meal. Number 15 is salt. In addition to using it to enhance the flavor of your food, this is a necessary mineral that your body needs to operate. So can't have enough of that. And obviously it's cheap. Number 16, oil. We keep olive oil and a few other options in our storage. Oil serves many purposes in cooking, and the great thing about it is that it helps us satiate hunger. Number 17, coffee and or tea. I know for me personally, if anything were to happen and I didn't have my coffee, I'd probably be in a world of hurt. Number 18, spices and condiments. These options, things like Tabasco sauce, oregano, salsa, pepper, other options, these just help add variety to your diet and just prevent fatigue of having to eat certain foods over and over. It's always nice, spices kind of add a little variety and help mix things up some. Number 19, nuts. And this is an easy comfort food you can quickly grab. Again, source of protein, source of fat. Number 20, packaged meals, something like a macaroni and cheese. We added these to our inventory for our kids. Again, just some easy comfort foods we know they'll like, easy to cook and prepare. And here's an additional bonus item for your food storage: having a garden. Now, while this isn't a food storage item, obviously, it's great to have a backup option, something that, number one, you have fresh food and something that can be replenished. I've done a few videos, or rather I did a video on this a few weeks ago, and I'll provide a link in the description below of how I started getting into raised bed gardening. I have no experience with gardening, and surprisingly it's not that hard, and I'm already beginning to see a crop come in as I begin to plant different seeds over the last couple of months. So encourage you to check that out. Also, here's some additional considerations. Before you start just going out and grabbing a bunch of things and adding it to your inventory, number one, make sure you have enough water stored up. I can't emphasize this enough. People often underestimate this, how much water they're going to need. I've done a couple of videos in the past where I talked about water storage and purification. Obviously, the things that we're talking about on the list that you're cooking, they'll need water. So definitely have that stored up and prepared. Number two, actually buy food items that your family enjoys. When I made the list, I did a lot of research, and I found a lot of different options that were really popular, but they didn't really work with what our family enjoys eating. So I just altered our diet, or rather altered this list based on what our family's diet is, and we stocked up on items that we already use. Again, what we talked about earlier, don't get things that you're going to buy and you're never going to use them and you'll end up tossing them and throw them away. What's the point? So find items that you actually enjoy that you're already using and just add those in and stock up and add extra. Also, consider convenience foods that are easy to grab and eat and don't necessarily require a lot of preparation, like protein bars or crackers. And be sure to actually try these foods out before stocking them up. Again, if there was a time of catastrophe and you're left eating some food that you don't even like to begin with, that's just not going to help. Number three, have a place to store food. You can clear out a closet in your house or find some other location that's not being used. Also, be sure to rotate your supplies. Check the expiration dates on the different cans or the different things you purchase, and put the items with an expiration date that's further in the future at the back. And the items that need to be eaten sooner, move those toward the front. And be sure as well to have a pen and paper in the storage area to write down items you need to replace on your next trip to the store when you pull an item out of storage. Again, buy what you eat, rotate, and repeat. In a future video, I'll be creating a series of videos where I'll talk about setting up your prepper's kitchen, including sanitation and cleanup, as well as discuss several different fuel options to ensure you can cook your food. For those that want to go beyond just the basics discussed in this video in our series about long-term food storage, which is again another video I'll be doing hopefully sometime soon, be sure to check out the Prepper's Cookbook, a book that I'm currently reading. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and share. In addition, if you'd like to help this channel, please check out my Amazon store, which I'll provide a link in the description below. And if you have any items on your food storage list that are not mentioned in the video, please feel free to share them in the comments section below, as I always enjoy to hear back from the community. And a lot of times these comments, I do read them and I get a lot of insight. There's things that I may not have even considered, and it helps kind of mature me and grow me as a prepper. So as always, be safe out there.